Hi YouTubers, my name is Kevin and you're watching The Royal We. In this message, I want to talk to you about being refined in this life. Now, how many of you would say that the toxic relationships and the narcissistic abuse that you've experienced and you've witnessed in this life has broken you down, has reduced you down to what feels like losing everything? You've lost friends, family, jobs. You've been reduced down into something that's formless. Now, but what if I told you that this is a refining point for you? It's a refining place for your life. Now, how many of you have heard of the terminology, the refining fire? Maybe you've heard of it in a spiritual sense, but how many of you also realize that it's a real practice that's used for precious metals, especially gold, right? Now, refining fire is used for gold because of the purity that refiners want gold, because of the value of pure gold, because there's nothing more valuable than pure gold. Now, in this case, in this message, you are far more valuable than pure gold. And so in your life, there's a refining process that's kind of like being refined by fire. So what is being refined by fire? Well, let's talk about it with the precious metals, with gold. A lot of times gold picks up imperfections, impurities, toxins, different alloys, because gold by itself is a very soft and pliable and precious, delicate metal. And so in order to make some jewelries, they infuse the gold with other alloys and other impure metals in order to harden it. Now, when a refiner gets that gold and just wants the pure, valuable, precious gold, what the refiner does is put it into this burning hot, and I mean we're talking 12,000 to 22,000 degree temperature fire that breaks the precious metals down, reduces it into a liquid. And this is the refining process. And in this liquid, what happens is the impure metals, the impurities separate from the precious metals. And this is how the refiners are able to gather just the precious gold. So they have a pure gold, and they leave the impurities. They leave all the other alloys, and they're able to just salvage what's pure and what's perfect. Now, the same is true for your life. When you come out of toxic relationships, when you're in this world in general, you pick up a lot of impurities, a lot of toxins because of the people that you engage with, the relationships that you enter into, certain boyfriends or girlfriends or even family members or even jobs. And you start to take on a lot of these characteristics in these relationships. And you lose your luster, you lose your purity, you lose your gold in a very pure sense to these relationships throughout your life. And now when you come out of a toxic relationship and your eyes are opened and you're starting to see people and wickedness and evil and toxicity and narcissism, you see it for what it is. You realize that it's out there, and at the same time your life is being broken down. It's happening so quick and so fast, but it seems just painful, and there's a lot of suffering involved. But what's happening is your life is being refined. It's during this healing process in your life where the impurities in your life are being taken out of you and removed from you. And now many of you would say, Kevin, wait a minute. I'm not the one with impurities in my life, okay? The narcissistic, abusive person is the impure one. I'm perfect. Well, listen. I get where you're coming from, and I know that in the relationship you believed you were pure, but I'm here to tell you right now that just your connection to the toxic, abusive people is not pure. That process right there is like a impure alloy being attached onto you without you even realizing it, and you becoming one with these impurities, much like gold becomes one with impurities to make certain jewelries. And now in order for you to be effective in this life, in order for you to reach your full potential in this life, you need to be purified. You need to get these toxins removed. What kinds of toxins? What kinds of impurities? How about the desire to even be with narcissistically abusive people, whether they're your family members, whether they're friends, whether it's the hot guy down the street or that hot girl? in that you met last week. Right? You need to be purified of that desire. That's an impurity that can attach itself to your gold. And your gold is everything that you are. That's your pure form. Once you start looking at yourself as though you are gold, because you are. You're the most valuable creation there is. Your worth is way more valuable than gold. But oftentimes in this life, we need to go through a refining process to get rid of all the impurities. All the impurities that we pick up, all the attachments that we make to bad things, to horrible things. How many of us possibly picked up smoking or drinking or doing these other things? Why? Because we saw other family members do it. Or we had friends that did it. Or we got involved in a relationship. How many of you were introduced into certain sexual things that you never would have thought of before? Right? How many of you have created different habits? And now the refining process is a process in life of these impurities being worked out. And sometimes it takes a complete breaking down of your life. Some people call it hitting rock bottom. But I want to call it for this message, the refining fire of your life. This is where the heat is being turned up so hot in your life. And it's so uncomfortable. But what's happening is you're being separated from all the impurities. And the purity of you, the pure gold, the precious metal, the precious you is being sifted and sifted out of the rest of the impurities, and they're being left. And that's what's happening in your life. There's a separation that's taking place as you are being removed. In your pure state, you're being removed from the impurities. Refined by fire. We can learn a lot just by looking at how the people work in their crafts. I believe that there is a master craftsman. I believe that there is a creator. That there's an amazing God who loves you, who sees the value in you, whose value of you is far more than any gold, any jewel, any precious metal that you could ever come across. And that creator wants the purest form of you so that great things can be made, so that great things can happen. It's your pure, valuable state. But in order to get you in that pure state, there has to be a refining process in your life to remove and bubble up all the impurities away from you. All right? Listen, I want to be a part of your healing journey. Visit www.jointheroyalwe.com where you can schedule your one-on-one appointment with me. We could talk over FaceTime for you Apple users. It's very good. It's very effective. It's very personal one-on-one. We could also do phone calls, or if you like, you could do email, but that is a very slow process. I also invite you to visit and join every Monday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time for Royal We Live Chat. This is an opportunity for you to be a part of the Royal We community. You can call in, ask questions, you can text your questions in, or you can message your questions in the chat room, and we talk about it right there live. Also, every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is Royal We Fellowship, where we take a look at the Bible and we do studies pertaining to the worldview of narcissism and the toxic society in which we live. It's an excellent way to study the Bible. It's not like any church you've ever been to. I promise you that. And I'll be back with more videos right here on the Royal We.